At the Experimental Biology Meeting 2022, members from 5 societies gather in Philadelphia to discuss new developments and research in anatomy, biochemistry and molecular biology, investigative pathology, pharmacology, and physiology. The EB Meeting program features plenary lectures, workshops, symposia, networking opportunities, and much more. And EBTV is right here bringing you all the latest from the meeting. Welcome to the Pennsylvania Convention Center in Philadelphia and episode 2 of EBTV, where we continue to explore some of the latest news and developments from the participating societies. We catch up with the ASBMB president-elect to hear more about her plans for the society. The editor-in-chief of the Anatomical Record Journal tells us more about its recent special issues. We hear more about new discoveries in research from organizations worldwide. We speak to the ASPET president about her highlights of the meeting and ASPET's plans for the future. We also learn more about the diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy of ASBMB. And we find out more about the research of this year's Walter B. Cannon Award lecturer. As you can see, we have an exciting program coming up. Stay tuned for our first interview. You're watching EBTV. Joining me now is ASBMB President-elect Ann Stock. Thank you so much for joining us in our EBTV studio. So you start your term in July. Tell me a little bit about your agenda for the year.
So my goal is to increase engagement of ASBMB members in all the different activities in which ASBMB is engaged. In particular, I want to create more awareness of the ASBMB activities and hopefully encourage participation of members in the specific activities that they feel most passionate about.
Tell me a little bit about membership and kind of what the values are for people who become members.
So I think membership means different things to different people, but for me personally, I think engaging people in giving people an opportunity to encourage a view of science that goes beyond the narrow boundaries of their own specific research is very important. ASBMB also gives our discipline a collective voice. It is something that I think for an individual can offer support in early stages of the career, and at later stages it provides the potential for a really rewarding experience of giving back to the community and also in supporting the next generation of scientists. This has been a big year for the Society, and we've transitioned our journals, all 3 journals, to gold open access. We've established a fellows program. We've embarked on a diversity, equity, awareness, access and inclusion strategic planning process.
Tell me a little bit about plans moving forward. So you're going to have your own meeting in 2023. What are the plans for that?
So we're really excited about the 2023 meeting in Seattle, and we've named it Discover BMB. It's going to focus on the very large and diverse field of biochemistry and molecular biology and the advances there. It'll reflect the diversity, the great diversity in the membership of ASBMB. We're planning on featuring spotlight presentations of graduate student and postdoctoral scientists, and we have, of course, are still in the process of planning the physical layout and the scheduling of sessions. But our goal in this approach is to promote interactions, communication, and networking. An example of this is that we are planning to hold the poster sessions at the end of the day, which will bring people together around a hub at the exhibit center and for the presentations, but it will also promote a gathering of people, of members in a community that can discuss the day's events. So we're really excited about the opportunities of the meeting, and we think that it really provides the small meeting format will have much more of an opportunity for us to focus more specifically on the interests of our members and also to promote networking and socializing among our community.
It sounds like a lot of engagement opportunities.
That's what we're hoping for.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Joining me now is the editor-in-chief of the Anatomical Record Journal, Heather Smith. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. Tell us about the recent developments with the journal.
So one of the recent developments at the Anatomical Record that I'm most excited about is the publication of our recent special issue. It's called Evolution of a Discipline, The Changing Face of Anatomy. And it's very different than any other volume that we've ever published before, in that rather than focusing strictly on the science, we're taking a historical look back at the history and ethics of anatomy and critically evaluating the discipline, looking at transgressions that have been committed in the name of anatomical sciences, and evaluating how we can move forward together toward a more equitable future.
Interesting. Why was this important to highlight?
Now is the moment for organizations, journals, and disciplines as a whole to take a critical look back and evaluate how the discipline has approached diversity, equity, and inclusion in the past, look for areas of structural inequity, and take active steps to evaluate them. And I really want to give credit to the American Association for Anatomy for being so proactive and supportive and really putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to DEI measures.
Wow. What are the plans moving forward?
So we'd like to continue our diversity, equity, and inclusion measures, specifically highlighting underrepresented minority scholars whose research has gone undercited or underappreciated for the significance of the impact. We'd also like to publish some more special issues. We have some lined up that I'm very excited about dinosaurs, crocodile paleobiology, and the nasopharynx.
How do you get your ideas for the specials?
We have a lot of guest editors who come forward and propose these special issue ideas. So this current special issue, Jason Organ is one of our associate editors. It was really his labor of love, and it came out of a symposium and a symposium idea that he and some colleagues had. So it's typically a guest editor will come and approach us and come to us with an idea, and we'll invite authors to participate.
Okay, great. And then this one people can get now?
Correct. So this is the current volume of our journal right now, our April issue, and it is available, through Wiley.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Now let's take a closer look at some of the latest developments in research from marine molecular biology to drug discovery. The Sars International Center for Marine Molecular Biology studies fundamental biological processes in different marine organisms using a wide array of state-of-the-art functional and comparative molecular methods. Let's take a closer look.
Marine invertebrates have long inspired researchers. Mikael Sars was a pioneer zoologist born in 1805 in Bergen, Norway. The Sars International Center for Marine Molecular Biology continues the inspiring legacy of the Sars family.
Sars is an amazing institute. They go from molecular biologists to developmental biologists to evolutionary biologists.
The center can provide answers to scientific questions by focusing on marine organisms.
You actually have not only these animals, but you also have the knowledge of how to culture and breed these animals.
We have amazing infrastructure, we have a very vibrant scientific community.
I see the Sars a bit like a northern light on very important questions such as marine ecosystems, biodiversity.
We are an international center, welcoming researchers from all over the world.
The Ontario Institute for Cancer Research is a collaborative research institute that conducts and enables high-impact translational cancer research to accelerate the development of discoveries for patients around the world.
Our mission at OICR, our vision is solving cancer together. OICR, or the Ontario Institute for Cancer Research, is a multidisciplinary cancer research institute.
This is really a unique model to bring into the academic setting and allows us to advance assets quickly and effectively.
One thing that's unique about the drug discovery team is they bring together a diverse array of unique expertises that come together and all of them are required for advancing a drug into the clinic.
Well, ultimately, everything we do, all the research that we do at OICR, it's ultimately all about patients. We want to develop new therapies that will benefit patients, will increase their quality of life, and increase survival of cancer patients.
I'm here with Margaret Nagy, although she calls herself Peggy, president of ASPET. Thank you so much for joining us in the EBTV studio. So tell me, this is the first in-person meeting since 2019. How does it feel?
It's exhilarating. It's wonderful. Yesterday we had the business meeting and the room was packed with people and there was so much chatter and talk going on and everybody just seemed so excited to be with their colleagues again, and it's really wonderful at last, and I hope we don't have to go virtual again.
Tell me about some of the highlights for you with this year's meeting.
Well, certainly I would think, since I conducted the business meeting as president, that was a highlight, to see everybody there gathered, enjoying themselves, so excited to be back together. Highlights for me are always talking to the students and dealing with students in any way. I love to go to student posters, and just talking to people is exceptional. Also, and here's a shameless plug, I have a symposium tomorrow afternoon at 3 in the afternoon, and it is based on diversity in pharmacology, which is a subject I'm quite passionate about, DEI. So if somebody is listening to this, I do hope you come, and that's going to be a highlight for me as well.
Definitely. Tell me about the focus moving forward. Kind of what are those focus points that you want members to look at?
One thing that I think is an important focus moving forward is the desire to have a very diverse group of pharmacologists. Pharmacology is moving beyond the boundaries of strict academia, and there are pharmacologists in government, there are pharmacologists in biotech, there are pharmacologists everywhere, which is one of the best things about pharmacology, because it is a discipline that encompasses many other disciplines, so they can work in various fields of endeavor. And so having bringing in all kinds of pharmacologists is important. And we, as always, are focused on trying to keep on the cutting edge of research in pharmacology and presenting it to our members.
Will that be covered in your symposium as well, the diversity aspect of it?
Absolutely. We have had more symposium on diversity in this meeting than we have ever had, and I'm hoping to have more in the future. But I want to create a culture and a program that will appeal to pharmacologists from any endeavor, be it consultants, be it medical writers, no matter what they do.
So there's so many different avenues that people can pursue.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I want them all to feel welcome at ASPET, and I want to provide benefit. Well, I say I, but I'm meaning ASPET. We, definitely we, want to provide benefit to everybody.
Tell me a little bit about 2023. You're going to have your own annual meeting. What are the plans for that?
We are so excited. The plans, of course, are still being made. It's going to be in St. Louis, and we are, again, thinking of a lot of social aspects for our members, having like a big party at a different venue that everybody can have, because it's all part of this inclusivity and all part of making the members all feel comfortable. We are restructuring the way we carry out the symposia, et cetera, to make things more interactive and not a long series of talks. So we want people to begin to interact during these things in ways that are different than they have done before. So a lot of restructuring of the program and the types of programming that's offered, restructuring of the poster sessions so that everybody will attend all the posters and they will become more social, and more social activities for our members in the evening. It's going to be shorter, but sweeter.
Very It sounds like a lot of networking opportunities as well.
That is totally important. Yes, networking is key.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us today in the EBTV studio.
You're very welcome.
I'm here with Kristen Carter-Sue, who is the 2022 Walter B. Cannon Award Lecturer. The Cannon Award recognizes the lifetime achievement of an outstanding physiological scientist. So welcome, thank you for joining us in the EBTV studio. Tell us a little bit about your lecture and what attendees can expect to learn.
So one of the main physiological areas of interest is how the body communicates with one another. And one of the ways it does it is through hormones that get secreted by one organ and then goes in the bloodstream and then can be seen by all the different cells and they can respond to it. So the one hormone that we look at is growth hormone, and that is the primary hormone important for body growth. And what we asked was, how does growth hormone act at the level of a cell to bring about its diverse responses? And so what we are going to talk about today is how we discovered how the growth hormone in the blood interacts with the cell, and what are the downstream, what we call signaling pathways, the downstream proteins that tell cells how to respond to that. And in part of that, we're going to talk about the different signaling molecules and what they've done and the implications that we found outside of growth hormone field for the functions of these different molecules that have impact for things as diverse as cancer and understanding obesity.
So this is a Lifetime Achievement Award. Tell me a little bit about kind of what you're best known for.
The thing we're best known for, I just alluded to, is our growth hormone signaling pathways. And the pathway that we are most famous for is showing that growth hormone binding to a molecule, a receptor in the membrane of a cell, activates a tyrosine kinase called JAK2 tyrosine kinase. And that activated kinase then phosphorylates and activates these transcription factors called STAT. So it's commonly called in textbooks now JAK-STAT signaling pathway. And we, in combination with another investigator, discovered that finding. And it's important because not only does it affect that pathway, the growth hormone, but it affects the pathways used by interleukins, cytokines, satiety factor, leptin, and a variety of other different communicators, intracellular communicators in the body that affect a lot of body functions.
Do you have any advice for young scientists throughout their career?
Well, I think I'm known for giving a lot of advice, so I have a lot of advice, but I'll limit myself to just 3. We spent years where people would stand up at national meetings and write in review articles that there are no evidence to support our hypotheses, and yet the wonderful thing about science is that with time and experiments, you'll be proven to be true or not true. If you're true, you'll finally get the recognition. And if it's not true, it's a different interpretation. At least hopefully others will have broadened their horizon. So my 2 pieces of advice is think broadly, outside of the box, and to don't give up and just stick to it and listen to what your data says. And the 3rd piece of advice is you can never have too many mentors. There's so much to being a successful scientist. It's not just the science, but it's writing grants, it's writing papers, giving presentations, and oh my gosh, social media. And I'm really excited that the APS has started having a lot more workshops for young investigators, and I recommend that you go to them and reach out as much as you can to your colleagues and both senior and junior, to get as much help as you can.
It's all great advice. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We're EBTV, your daily news show featuring interviews and discussions from this year's EB meeting in Philadelphia. You can catch us around the convention center, in your hotel room, or on the EB website and on YouTube. And you can join the conversation on social media. With new content each day, make sure to stay tuned. Now we speak to Sierra Smith to learn more about the ASBMB Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategy.
So now ASB&B is really trying to enhance their diversity, equity, as well as accessibility and inclusion. So they hired me. I'm the manager of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And one of the major things that we're doing is actually collaborating with a STEM organization called Access Plus. So basically, we are working closely with Access to develop action steps to enhance our DEI efforts. So we actually just did an equity environmental scanning tool, or EEST, to basically evaluate our DEI progress within each committee and each department, which has never been done within our society. So in addition to that, we are doing a lot of programming at our organization. We have major programs to enhance diversity, equity, and inclusion, such as the Marion Sewer Scholarship, which is for undergraduates. It provides funding for undergraduate students in their education. We have the Graduate Student Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award, which is basically a travel award that funds graduate students from diverse backgrounds to come to ASB&B to present their research and get exposure and network. We also have the fabulous Mosaic program, which is an NIH-sponsored program, which basically it supports early career scientists from diverse backgrounds to pursue independent careers within the laboratory and become PIs. So we have a lot of huge support system within the ASB&B to enhance diversity, equity, and inclusion. I would like to see each committee and department have DEI always on the forefront of their mind, where whenever they're looking at their awards description or programming, I really want them to think, okay, is our programming accessible? Are we including a diverse population within our awards? Are we acknowledging our diverse membership and think, are we being inclusive and are we being equitable? We want to make sure everyone is on the same page when it comes to diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion. And once our staff is on the same page, we could basically pour out into our membership all the things that we want to do in enhancing DEI. There's ample opportunity to get involved at ASB&B in regards to diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion. We have two committees. We have the Maximizing Access Committee, which is formerly known as the Minority Affairs Committee. We recently changed our name, or the MAC, and we also have the Women in Biochemistry and Molecular Biology Committee, or the WIPMIB. And these two committees, I'm actually the liaison to these two, and they're fabulous. They're doing a lot of programming. For example, we did an unconscious bias program in February where we learned about unconscious bias and strategies to mitigate that. We also have a coded bias documentary screening coming up from the WIPMIB in May to talk about basically the bias within software facial recognition. So basically just participating in the programs we have is one way to get involved. Also, committees, we definitely encourage our members to join our committees. Every year we have an open call for members to join the committees to get involved and help with programming and things like that. So that's how I would encourage our members to get involved.
That's it for our second day of the EB 2022 meeting. Tomorrow we'll have more interviews and featured sessions, so keep watching. Before then, you can watch the show here at the Convention Center, in your hotel room, and online. And don't forget to subscribe to EB TV on social media. We'll see you tomorrow.